go to a splash park. This girl's totally gonna see me. Oh God, I have to hide. Okay, she's in our car. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would partake in the MUMLIFE Raw tag that I have found here on YouTube. I haven't seen any of these questions yet, so everything you see here will be very authentic. Number one is describe your day as a mom in one word. I would say awesome. I really love being a mom. I am super, super fortunate. I get the mom and Eileen balance. My son from a very early age has been in nursery and school. So I get to have the very important me time most days. So that means the time that I do have with my son, I'm not ripping my hair out. I really enjoy hanging out with my little dude. We have so much fun together, and I get to also have time to myself. So I have to say a day in my life as a mom is awesome, pretty awesome. That's 2 words, but that's the truth. Number 2, what's the most challenging part in connecting with other moms? I'd have to say, I think one of the challenging things about connecting with other moms is women, like, we can be our own worst enemy, can't we? Especially when you think about motherhood, because there's so many different ways to do things, be it breastfeeding versus formula feeding. I have views on that. I formula fed my son, and that was for many reasons. I could make a video about it, but I have friends who are die-hard breastfeeders, and it's weird because you never want, you get in conversations with them and it's like, you know, whatever's right for you, but I don't know, it's just, I find it can be a very passive-aggressive conversation, and not just breastfeeding. I mean, you get that with using a dummy or a pacifier in the United States, with when you choose to wean your child onto food, how long you wait to do that. There's all sorts of different things. There's a lot of topics that make it tough to connect with other moms because subliminally we kind of judge each other, and we shouldn't. You know, while we're all in this battlefield together, we kind of all have these views on how we think we should be momming, and unfortunately we pass judgment on each other, so it's hard to connect when that happens. So don't judge each other. Let's be nice to each other. Number 3 is share one terrible poo moment. Oh God, a funny poo moment. I cannot believe I'm telling you guys this. I was at the park with my son, and he wasn't potty training yet, so he had a diaper on, a nappy, and I didn't have any spares with me. Okay, and he needed to poo at the park, and I'm never going to tell my son to hold a poo in ever. So he poos at the park, but like, we've just gotten there, and I don't want to go home, and he doesn't want to go home. So y'all, dark mom moment. I went in my handbag and found like the biggest receipt I could find. I think I had a tissue with it too, and literally opened up the back of his shorts and his nappy, reached in, grabbed the turd like it was my job, and threw it in the bin. So ghetto. I can't believe I told y'all that. That is absolutely true. I was like, we're not going home yet. You're having fun on the slide. Let mama just fish the turd out. If you're watching this and you don't have kids, you think I'm absolutely foul right now. But if you do have kids, you've been there. You know you do the same thing. We walk around with snot all over us and puke. Fish out a bit of poo. We got to stay at the park, and he had a fabulous time. Number 4 is, how do you deal with public meltdowns and tantrums? This is a good one. I have to say, my son is almost 3 years old, and touch wood, he doesn't really have tantrums. Like, he doesn't have like lay down on the floor, scream tantrums. He gets upset, and there's things he doesn't like. So we're going through a phase right now where my son has everything's a tragedy. Like, so let's see, we went to a splash park a few days ago, and it's summer, beautiful day. My son doesn't understand that his bathing suit can get wet. So when his bathing suit got splashed, he was beside himself. My shorts are wet, devastated. But I don't know, like, I acknowledge his feelings and go, you look really upset. Do you want to come have a cuddle with mom? And he'll come over and just sits and cuddles, and he whimpers a little bit, but then he rebounds really quickly, and he doesn't throw big tantrums. I know so many moms out there hate me for this, but that is true. And I will say another thing. I I kind of recognize this phase that he's going through, and I don't go out to restaurants and sit with him for like an hour plus, because it's just not conducive with the mental development he's going through right now. So I guess maybe I don't put myself in that circumstance a lot to where I'm in public in settings that probably aren't going to work so well for a 2-year-old, which is fine. If I'm with my husband, there's 2 of us to distract him. I guess the bottom line is he doesn't really have tantrums, but if he did, let's say if he did have a tantrum, I am very much of the mindset that kids like that are 2, they don't have the mental capacity to control their emotions. So I'm never going to be the mom that's like, stop crying, or that, will give him whatever he wants to get him to stop crying. It's really just a phase that he's going through. And if he does have where he's crying and can't control it, I usually just give him a big cuddle. If I was in public, I would probably just remove myself from the situation. I would take him outside. It's so hard, but I really, really try to not lose my shit, basically, lose my cool, because it's something that he cannot control, and I understand that. Again, with that said, I don't have a child that has really bad tantrums, so I sympathize with people who do lose their cool, because I've seen kids have tantrums and I know how tough it must be. When Patrick is having a meltdown, I will acknowledge, I know you're really upset. I know you're really frustrated, but this is what we have to do. It's just to say to him, I'm acknowledging your feelings. I don't want him to ever feel like he can't express his emotion and his feelings to me. So I acknowledge that, but we have to leave the park now, or we can't have that 3rd ice cream today. You've already had 2. And just kind of wait it out. If you have a child that has tantrums, they bounce back. They do bounce back. So you just have to wait it out, don't you? I think that's how I would handle it. Number 5 is, honestly, how much screen time does your child have? And this is the honest truth. My son has about half an hour to 45 minutes maybe in the morning, depending on how lazy I am. He gets up in the morning, he comes up into my bed with me, and that's when he has screen time on the iPad. The iPad stays in my room all the time. It doesn't move throughout the house. And that way Patrick associates screen time and the iPad with being in my room. So the only time he's on it is first thing in the morning. I guess that's not true. We'll bring the iPad downstairs when we FaceTime my family in the United States, but he knows when it's in here, we're FaceTiming somebody. It's not a time to play games or watch movies on the iPad. So he watches it for about a half an hour to 45 minutes in the morning. And that's the only screen time on the iPad he has a day. Now, the TV, he's just finally gotten to where he'll watch TV for longer than like 5 minutes. I was so hell-bent on, he won't watch TV, I don't want my child to be just, a TV zombie, that I kind of like shot myself in the foot, because he came to be 2 years old, and I was like, okay, now you can watch some TV. Mommy's gonna go do some things she needs to get done. And he wouldn't watch TV. Like, he wasn't interested. He just wanted to play with me. He wanted to play with toys. So I think it's about balance. I think it's okay to let your kids watch TV, or else you end up like me and they don't like it. He finally has gotten to where he will watch a show over here in the UK called Hey Dougie, and he'll watch it for a good half an hour to 40 minutes. So that's good. When he gets home from school, it's really good wind down time. He watches that before he has his bath and goes to bed. And I just think it's a good way to round out his day. And it's normal for kids to watch TV. You guys, we grew up watching TV. It's no big deal. And as far as screen time, I'll throw this in. That's the future. I don't think you should completely blacklist iPads and computers from your kids, because otherwise they're going to be behind when they get into school. We got to face up to the reality. It's 2017. Kids use iPads, adults use iPads. It's all about coding and all of this kind of stuff. So we need to make sure that our kids are caught up. It's all about balance, right? All about balance, people. And doing this, whatever that is. Number 6 is, what is your go-to easy dinner that you do every week? Okay, here in the UK, I put in my food video that I did last week, people love beans on toast. And if you're in America, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is canned beans, like baked beans, yeah? Heat it up for like 3 minutes, maybe. Pour some Worcestershire sauce in there. Add a little bit of grated cheese. Mix, 2-3 minutes. Toast a piece of bread. Put it on the toast. If you're feeling crazy, throw some ham in it. Just deli ham. And that's it. That's dinner. That's like super, super, super easy. That's like, I'm embarrassed to admit that I make it every week too easy. If I'm just going easy, it's probably tuna pasta. Can of tuna, tablespoon of Greek yogurt, tablespoon of mayonnaise, mix, 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 mix with pasta and sweet corn. Super easy, protein, vegetable, carb. That's my go-to easy meal that I make for Patrick. Number 7 is, did you yell, cry, or struggle today? I don't yell. I'm not a yelling parent. I'm very much of the belief that if I'm angry, or frustrated, Patrick says now when he's upset, he goes, I'm frustrated, because that's the word that I use with him when I feel like I'm losing my cool. I say, Patrick, mommy's very frustrated, because I don't want him to ever feel like I'm angry at him. So I'm just frustrated. But when I do get angry, I come down to his level and just speak in a very calm tone and tell him what I need him to do. I'm not a yeller, so I haven't yelled today. I have cried. I've been through a tough last couple weeks, struggling with keeping a pregnancy in, basically. I've made a video about that. I'm probably got a link up here somewhere. So I have cried today thinking about that. It's been kind of a tough time. Have I struggled today? I struggled to get Patrick to eat something other than waffles for breakfast. He's an amazing eater. He'll eat vegetables. He does all that lunch and dinner, but for breakfast, if it ain't a waffle, he ain't eating. So he has waffles almost every morning for breakfast. With fruit. I cut up some fruit for him. But that was the only struggle. And when I say struggle, it was, will you eat something other than waffles? No! Okay. So I guess it's not a struggle. It's just that moment of, ugh. Number 8 is, what was the best moment of your day so far? I think after we have breakfast, almost every morning we come upstairs and we do like a dance warm up to get ready for the day. And my son and I dance to like Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber or Bruno Mars. And oh my God, I just introduced him to Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball, and he loves to go in his bedroom. And when she sings, I came in like a wrecking ball, he'll come running through this door and he runs in like a wrecking ball. That's usually the highlight of my day because it's so much fun. I love music so much. I love dancing. And I just love the innocence and freedom that my son has when we turn on music and he can just be silly and dance around. And that is a highlight today, most days, and 30 years down the line, it is a memory that I will treasure so much. I love it. It's absolutely wonderful. What is your guilty pleasure to reward your mom life? Okay. I'm obsessed with drag queens. I am obsessed. And I've always been thinking, what's a way I can introduce my drag queen obsession to my YouTube channel? This is it. I can binge watch RuPaul's Drag Race. I absolutely love it. And I absolutely love watching my favorite drag queens on YouTube and following them on Instagram. If you want to know, my favorite drag queens are Trixie Mattel, Katya, I can't pronounce her last name, Sasha Velour, Alyssa Edwards, Bianca Del Rio. Those are my 5 faves. Oh my gosh, I love drag queens so much. They're so funny. I really appreciate the craft of what they do with their makeup, and they're just so blunt and they say what we're all thinking. I absolutely love it. Love, love, love drag queens. That is my mom guilty, guilty, guilty pleasure. Number 10 is, how often do you experience mom guilt? I'm experiencing it a little bit right now. I am enjoying filming this video and sharing all this stuff with you guys, and my son's at school. I have moments because I don't have a conventional job where I go into an office. I have my own business that I work on from home, and I also do my YouTube channel. I tend to feel guilty about sending my son to school. I started sending him from when he was a year old. I returned back to work and then started my own company, and I've kept him in school, and I feel really guilty about it because I'm like, really, I could probably have him right now and be playing with him. But I also know that that would cause me to burn out. And also too, he loves school. He loves school. He loves being with his friends. So I shouldn't feel guilty about it. But I do sometimes come home and go, oh, I can just sit and have a cup of coffee and just relax for a few minutes before I start working. And he's at school, and I feel guilty about that. But we all have mom guilt, don't we? And let me tell you, when he's 15, 16, 17 years old, I'm gonna be like, oh, do you remember when you were 2 and mommy made you go to school? He ain't gonna remember. So let's all just, pour a glass of wine and get over the guilt and get on with it, right? Number 11 is share a taboo thing about motherhood that you think should be talked about more. This one's pretty easy for me. One is the breastfeeding and formula feeding conversation and debate. I spoke about it a little bit earlier. I desperately wanted to breastfeed Patrick, but my body wouldn't allow it. And because there was so much talk about how breast was best, I ended up persevering, and my son's weight fell to like the 0 to 5th percentile because he was not getting enough food. But I just felt so ashamed that I couldn't do it. And it only was after I switched to formula feeding and started reading more about it and joining support groups that I realized so many mothers can't do it, and there's no reason to feel like crap about it. So I think that's a topic that I feel like should be talked about more, and we should be more open with each other and more accepting of whatever way people want to feed their babies. Because I can tell you right now, if people met Patrick, they would have no idea if he was drinking from the boob or drinking from the bottle. So I really wish more people would talk about that. And also to miscarriage. I think because I have been through multiple miscarriages now, there's that whole you don't tell anybody you're pregnant for the first 12 weeks. And I think that's really difficult because then if you have a miscarriage, so many women suffer in silence. And I absolutely hate that. I think those are two topics that I think should be talked about more, and we should all be more supportive of each other. Yeah. Bottom line with everything I said, we are all trying our best, and I think all you moms are awesome. And if you're not a mom yet, and you're living your life and doing your thing, wait to have kids until you're absolutely ready. Because it's a tough one. It's a tough gig, people, but it's fantastic. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.